Okay, so we're continuing with our morning reading of Chaitanya-charitamrita. Let's see where we are. Mādhavendra Purī has received another dream. So in this way, the deity worship in the temple is very gorgeously performed for 2 years. Then one day, Mādhavendra Purī had a dream. Gopal kohe Puri amar tapanahi jai, Malaya ja chandan lepa tobe se judai. In his dream, Mādhavendra Purī saw Gopal, who said, "My bodily temperature still has not decreased. Please bring sandalwood from the Malaya province and smear the pulp over my body to cool me." So sandalwood has this special property of being very cooling. And actually in India there's this tradition during the hottest time of year, like around May, like April, May, then there's a Chandan Yatra, they call it. Chandan is sandalwood, and it's for some period of a few weeks, as I remember, and every day they'll apply a paste. Every day they use a little in worship, right? But in this period they'll smear it over the body of the deity to help cool down, because this is the Prakrita mood of worship, right? The Lord does not need anything, but this is how he's reciprocating in love with his devotees. So this is some special province. I've never been quite able to. It's somewhere near Jagannath Puri. I'll read this here. So, sandalwood produced in, this is in the purport, sandalwood produced in Malaya is very popular. That province is situated on the western Ghat, and the hill Nilagiri is sometimes known as Malaya Hill. The word Malaya Ja is used to indicate the sandalwood produced in Malaya province. Sometimes the word Malaya refers to the modern country of Malaysia. Formerly this country also produced sandalwood, but now they found it profitable to produce rubber trees. Although the Vedic culture was once prevalent in Malaysia, now all the inhabitants are Muslims. The Vedic culture is now lost in Malaysia, Java, and Indonesia. So yeah, this is what confuses me, because Swami Maharaj says Malaya, but he says sometimes it refers to Malaysia. Because for what it seems like in the context of Chaitanya-charitamrita, it's an area that's close to Jagannath Puri. So anyhow, so there's some very special sandalwood there. So he's asking Mādhavendra Purī to bring that. So it's a really beautiful meditation, that the Lord, he does not need our service, right? And yet he's giving this difficult task to Mādhavendra Purī. So then you can understand it is really out of his love, And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually has some very wonderful commentaries on this section of Chaitanya-charitamrita about the special mood of Mādhavendra Purī, the Lord's love for him, his mood of separation from the Lord. And one point is that, the Lord, he sometimes puts his devotees in difficult situations in order to demonstrate their glories, right? So Mādhavendra Purī is being given this, it's like a very difficult task, you're walking across India, right? Carrying some big heavy load of wood, basically sandalwood. This is the time of the Muslim rule, right? So it's not so easy moving around, and there are different tolls you have to pay along the way, and it's like a bit of a dangerous and difficult mission. But Mādhavendra Purī, because of his devotion, right, the Lord is giving him this special service, and he's happily reciprocating and showing his own glory. And then we'll see what happens later on, how it all pans out. Because, okay, I'll just spoil it. Because then what happens later is Oh, I won't actually. But you realize that it was really the Lord didn't want him to go through all that trouble. He just wanted to demonstrate his glories, and you'll see how it works out later. Malaya jana jaya nila chol hoite, anye hoite na he tumi cholo ho twadite. Bring sandalwood pulp from Jagannath Puri. Kindly go quickly. Since no one else can do it, you must. No one else, only you. Swapna deki puri gosair, hoilo prema vesh, Prabhu agya pali bade, gela por vadesh. After having this dream, Mādhavendra Puri Goswami became very glad due to ecstasy of love of Godhead. And in order to execute the command of the Lord, he started east toward Bengal. Seva nirbandalo korilo stapan, agyamagi goda deshe korilo gaman. Before leaving, Mādhavendra Puri made all arrangements for regular deity worship, and he engaged different people in various duties. Then, taking up the order of Gopal, he started for Bengal. So he's leaving everything in order, before he goes. This is like, nowadays we just, we will complain about an overnight train journey, right? Like that's our level right now. You just hop on a plane, you have a 1 hour, 2 hour flight, right? But this is like a major event, traveling to the other side of India. This would have been like several weeks, might have been a month or 2 months, So it's a mission. You don't know what's going to happen, when you'll be coming back, if you'll be coming back, So he's setting things up properly before he goes, making sure Gopal's worship is going on. This modern culture, it's obviously we appreciate the convenience, but it spoils us also. Like we kind of lose the value of things, like what it means, like the value of energy. We lose appreciation. We have so many ingredients, from all over the world, we just use them in such a quick and easy way, but like how much effort, how much sweat, how much labor went in all these different things, right? And what it means to travel from one place to another, and we're very spoiled actually. We lose consciousness, we lose appreciation. Everything is just on a plate in front of us, right? But just think about it, a normal person, even just 100 years ago, you have to walk out to a well, pump your water in the morning, right? Then heat it up on a stove, make the fire, heat up the water, and then you have a bath. And now we just turn on the tap and out comes the hot water, Then you lose appreciation for the value of energy and resources and all these things, So the way I see it is that, we have to see that all of this facility that we have in this modern age, it's to support Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. We have this convenience, so we don't have to waste time. We don't have to spend so much time on those things, and we can give more energy for Mahaprabhu's service. We shouldn't take it for granted, and we should use that extra time and extra energy that we have, not for frittering it away on useless things. It's like Saraswati Thakur, when he was asked about modern technology, he said, what do you think about modern technology? Only the devotees of Krishna should be using it. Actually it's demonic, if you think about it, and it's mentioned in Mahabharata. There's some mention there about electricity and how it's actually a demonic energy, right? So then why does Saraswati Thakur said only the devotees should use it? Because actually there's so much karma attached to that. There's, the way that they produce these things, the level of exploitation, right? And the vibrations surrounding it. There's a lot of karma, like negative karma associated. So therefore, it can only be used for a higher purpose. So that's why I see, like these like airplanes and all these things that allow us to, like, why are airplanes available? Why are airplanes invented? So that we can travel to spread Mahaprabhu's glories and Mahaprabhu's message. all of these things we should think, they're for that purpose. Everything has a price tag. Also, that's like from a lower consideration. Everything has some price tag. And we can only digest it, we can only pay for it if we're using it in Mahaprabhu's service, right? And then from a higher perspective, we must see that's the real purpose of these things, to be used for Mahaprabhu's mission. That's, I would say that's why the world's still standing today, right? Otherwise, we would all just collapse under the weight of our own karma. Of course, we're heading in that direction, but it's being stalled because, to some extent, all these things are being used for some purpose, right? Facebook, Instagram, these are all, we can see them as part of the Brihat Mridanga, right? An opportunity to spread Mahaprabhu's message. So yes, we don't want to take anything for granted, right? We want to try to utilize everything for Mahaprabhu's purpose. Okay, so Mādhavendra Purī is starting on his journey. Shanti Puraila Dvaita Chajera Gode Pode Prema Dekya Charja Nandantade. When Mādhavendra Purī arrived at the house of Advaita Acharya in Shantipur, the Acharya became very pleased upon seeing the ecstatic love of Godhead manifest in Mādhavendra Purī. Tartai manchal hoilo jatan kadiya, tolila dakine puri tare dikadiya. Advaita Acharya begged to be initiated by Mādhavendra Purī. After initiating him, Mādhavendra Purī started for South India. So, wow, like what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Who is Mādhavendra Purī? Advaita Acharya begs to receive initiation from him. And Nityananda Prabhu also takes initiation from him. Yeah. It's mentioned in our Parampara song, there in our line of gurus. We sing that sometimes, mentioned there. And then Mahaprabhu takes initiation from a disciple of Mādhavendra Purī. So who is Mādhavendra Purī? Can get some idea. Very special, elevated mood of devotion. Demonate koilo gopinata darashan, tarup dekiya hoilo vivalaman. Going into South India, Sri Mādhavendra Purī visited Vamuna, where Gopinath is situated. Upon seeing the beauty of the deity, Mādhavendra Purī was overwhelmed. So now Vamuna, right? Now we're returning to the scene. This is where Mahaprabhu's coming from taking sannyas, and he stopped on the way to Puri in Vamuna, where there's this deity of Gopinath. And so Mahaprabhu is telling this history, which this would have been, like 100 years, or less actually, a little under 100 years previously, this all took place. So upon seeing the beauty of the deity, Mādhavendra Purī was overwhelmed. Nitya Gita Gori Jaga Mohane Bosila, Kya Kya Bhog Lage Brahmane Puchila. In the corridor of the temple, from which people generally viewed the deity, Mādhavendra Purī chanted and danced. Then he sat down there and asked a Brahmin about what kinds of foods they offered to the deity. So Mādhavendra Purī is always thinking about his deity, how he can better serve his deity. Sevar shoshtava deki anandita mone, uttam bhog lage ta buji anumane. From the excellence of the arrangements, Mādhavendra Purī understood by deduction that only the best food was offered. Jaiche iha bhog lage sakali puchibo, taiche biyane bo gopale lagaibo. Mādhavendra Purī thought, I shall inquire from the priest what foods are offered to Gopinath, so that by making arrangements in our kitchen, we can offer similar foods to Gopal. Elagi puchilen brahmanera stane, brahman kohilosa bhog vivadane. When the Brahmin priest was questioned about this matter, he explained in detail what kinds of foods were offered to the deity of Gopinath. Sanjay bhog lage kir amrita kelinam, dwadashmit pache bodhi amrita saman. The Brahmin priest said, in the evening the deity is offered sweet rice in 12 earthen pots. Because the taste is as good as nectar, amrita, it is named Amrita Keli. Gopinath kir boli prasiddha namjar, pitivite aiche bo kahana hiyar. This sweet rice is celebrated throughout the world as Gopinath Kheer. It is not offered anywhere else in the world. It's quite a statement. What we're offering to Krishna here is the best. No one can top it. Nowhere in the world. It's a big statement. That's what he says. Pritivite, literally, that means like on the earth. On this whole earth, you won't find any offering better than this. Kale se bhog takade lagilo, shuni puri gosai kichu mane vicharilo. While Mādhavendra Purī was talking with the Brahmin priest, the sweet rice was placed before the deity as an offering. Hearing this, Mādhavendra Purī thought as follows. Aya chitta kir prasad alpajadi pai, swadajani toiche kir gopale lagai. If, without my asking, a little sweet rice is given to me, I can then taste it and make a similar preparation to offer my Lord Gopal. Eyi chaila japaya Vishnu smaran koilo, enokale bhog sari adati bhajilo. Mādhavendra Purī became greatly ashamed when he desired to taste the sweet rice, and he immediately began to think of Lord Vishnu. While he was thus thinking of Lord Vishnu, the offering was completed and the arati ceremony began. So this is the nature of the devotees, right? They're always doubting themselves. Actually, he wasn't thinking about his own taste buds, right? He was just thinking how he can please his Lord, and if I can taste that, then I'll know how to make something like that for Gopal. But then immediately afterwards he's doubting, I'm just thinking that because I want to taste it myself. I want to indulge my tongue. And so he's rebuking himself. And Vishnu, Vishnu, remembering the Lord. There's always that uncertainty, right? And self-questioning that the sincere devotee has. Never quite sure of our own intentions. Even Mādhavendra Purī. Arati dekiya Purī koilo namaskar, bahire aila kare kichu na kyo hiloar. After the arati was finished, Mādhavendra Purī offered his obeisances to the deity and then left the temple. He did not say anything more to anyone. Aya chitta vritti Purī virakta udas, aya chitta paile kan nahe upavas. Sri Mādhavendra Purī avoided begging. He was completely unattached and indifferent to material things. If, without his begging, someone offered him some food, he would eat. Otherwise, he would fast. So this is Swami Maharaj has an interesting purport. I was mentioning this before that, there are different ways in which sadhus would maintain their lives, and generally they would beg a little door to door. This madhukari, right? And that's how they would live. But then, so this is those who would practice. This is like a higher level of renunciation where they don't eat unless someone offers. This, he's saying, it's called here. It's like a type of vow, aya chitta vritti or ajagar vritti. Someone who does not ask anyone for food. If someone offers him food voluntarily, he eats. Aya chitta vritti means being accustomed to refrain from begging. Okay, so these are two different things. Aya chitta vritti means being accustomed to refrain from begging. And ajagar vritti indicates one who is compared to a python, the big snake that makes no effort to acquire food, but rather allows food to come automatically within its mouth. Yeah. In other words, a Paramahamsa simply engages exclusively in the service of the Lord without caring even for eating or sleeping. It was stated about the 6 Goswamis, Nidrahara Vihara Kada Vijito. In the Paramahamsa stage, one conquers the desire for sleep, food, and sense gratification. One remains a humble, meek mendicant, engaged in the service of the Lord day and night. Mādhavendra Purī had attained this Paramahamsa stage. Premamrite tripta kuda, Krishna nahi bade, kiricha hoilo tahe mane aparade. A Paramahamsa like Mādhavendra Purī is always satisfied in the loving service of the Lord. Material hunger and thirst cannot impede his activities. When he desired to taste a little sweet rice offered to the deity, he considered that he had committed an offense by desiring to eat what was being offered to the deity. Grame shunya hatte bosi koden kirtan, Etta pujari korailo takare shayan. Mādhavendra Purī left the temple and sat down in the village marketplace, which was vacant. Sitting there, he began to chant. In the meantime, the temple priest laid the deity down to rest. Nija gritya kori pujari korilo shayan, sapane takur asi bolila vachan. Finishing his daily duties, the priest went to take rest. In a dream, he saw the Gopinath deity come to talk to him, and he spoke as follows. So now the pujari is having a dream. Uttaha pujari koro dwar vimochan, kire karaki achi sannyasi karan. O priest, O pujari, please get up and open the door of the temple. I have kept 1 pot of sweet rice for the sannyasi, Mādhavendra Purī. So this is how that deity became known as the Lord who stole the pot of sweet rice. Because remember, it was mentioned before that every day they would offer 12 pots of this special sweet rice. And so the deity, he actually hid 1 pot for his devotee. Dadan chale daka ekira hoy, tomarana janila tahamar mayai. This pot of sweet rice is just behind my cloth curtain. You did not see it because of my tricks. Madhapuri sannyasi ache hatete bosiya, tahake toe kir shigrade holoya. A sannyasi named Mādhavendra Purī is sitting in the vacant marketplace. Please take this pot of sweet rice from behind me and deliver it to him. So this is in the middle of the night, right? Swapna deki pujari uti korila vichar, snan kore kapat kuli mukta hoilo dwar. Awaking from the dream, the priest immediately rose from bed and thought it wise to take a bath before entering the deity's room. I love how it mentions this. Like, I mean, I wouldn't do that. I'm going to take a bath in the middle of the night. You know, just go straight to it. But no, I mean, but it's so beautiful. Like, he's showing this honor and this reverence, like, going to that effort. You know, it's showing his mood of deep respect. He then opened the temple door. Dadan chal dole pailo se kir dan lepi kir loya hoilo bahir. According to the deity's instructions, the priest found the pot of sweet rice behind the cloth curtain. He removed the pot and mopped up the place where it had been kept. He then went out of the temple. Dwardiya grame gela se kira loya, hate hate bule mana porike chahiya. Closing the door of the temple, he went to the village with the pot of sweet rice. He called out in every stall in search of Mādhavendra Purī. So he's out wandering the streets in the middle of the night. Kilo hai jar na Madhava Purī, tomalagi gopinath kir koilo chodi. Holding the pot of sweet rice, the priest called, "Will he whose name is Mādhavendra Purī please come and take this pot? Gopinath has stolen this pot of sweet rice for you." Kireloye suke tumi koroho bakane, toma sambhagyavan nahi tribhuvane. The priest continued, "Will the sannyasi whose name is Mādhavendra Purī please come and take this pot of sweet rice and enjoy the prasadam with great happiness? You are the most fortunate person within these three worlds." And you know, one thing that always strikes me when I read this pastime is that, like, just how loving the pujari is, and he doesn't have any spirit of envy, you know? Like, he's not thinking like, you know, like if it was me, I would think, you know, I've been serving you for so many years, you know, you never stole any sweet rice from me, you know. No, but this, you know, this one guy just comes along for the first time, and, you know, but he's just like so happy to see the Lord giving his grace on someone. He's not thinking, what about me? Like, this is our mundane disease, the what about me disease, right? We always want to be in the picture somehow, you know. But he's just so non-envious and so happy. Oh, you are so fortunate. He's going out shouting in the middle of the night, carrying this pot. Oh, my Lord wants to grace you. You're so fortunate. Most fortunate. Yes. It's very instructive, isn't it? Very beautiful example. If we see others are being blessed, we should celebrate that, you know, we should be happy about that. And not think, why are they getting grades and I'm not getting grades? I've been doing this a lot longer than them. I broke my back. I've heard people say stuff like that. I broke my back for Prabhupada. I broke my back for Gurudev. You know, we always want to think, you know, we've done nothing actually, you know. We don't know what real sacrifice is, you know. And our gurus, they don't need anything from us. Also, everything is our opportunity. Service is a privilege. But this, you know, Gurudev, he explained this point once, you know, that if we see that someone else has received the mercy of the Lord, then if we also want to receive that mercy, then we have to appreciate that. You know, then we must glorify that. If we see the Lord has blessed someone, then we must appreciate, if we also want to receive some blessing. We can in some ways think of Krishna consciousness as a culture of appreciation, appreciation on deeper and deeper levels. Getting away from this, it's envy, right? The opposite of envy, right? And this is the foundation of all of this. This is mentioned at the very beginning, the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Nirmatsar, those who are free from envy, they can appreciate this, they can cultivate this. And we no longer need to put ourselves in the center, but we can happily celebrate the position of others, right? And the grace that others have. And, beginning with, understanding the Lord, that's the first stage, to understand that the Lord is in the center, not us. But then there are so many subtleties and nuances around that, right? Then there's also appreciation for the devotees of the Lord, right? And in a general sense, getting in that spirit of celebrating others, right? And putting others in the center. So this is something very foundational to Vaishnavism, appreciation. So Etta shuni puri gosai parichoy dilo, kirdiha pujari tare dandavata hoilo. Hearing this invitation, Mādhavendra Purī came out and identified himself. The priest then delivered the pot of sweet rice and offered his obeisances, falling flat before him. So he's like, wow, he's giving his full obeisance to Mādhavendra Purī. Kire vritanta tare kohilo pujari, shuni prema vishta hoilo Srimadavapodi. When the story about the pot of sweet rice was explained to him in detail, Sri Mādhavendra Purī at once became absorbed in ecstatic love of Krishna. Prem deki seva kohe hoya vishmita, Krishna jai harvash hoya tochita. Upon seeing the ecstatic loving symptoms manifest in Srila Mādhavendra Purī, the priest was struck with wonder. He could understand why Krishna had become so much obliged to him, and he saw that Krishna's action was befitting. Eta bole namaskari korila gaman, aveshe korila pori sekir bakan. The priest offered his obeisances to Mādhavendra Purī and returned to the temple. Then in ecstasy, Mādhavendra Purī ate the sweet rice offered to him by Krishna. Patra prakalan kori kanda kanda koilo, bahir vase bandi se tikari rakilo. After this, Mādhavendra Purī washed the pot and broke it into pieces. He then bound all the pieces in his outer cloth and kept them nicely. Pratidine kani goden bakan, kaile prema veshoy adbhut katan. Each day, Mādhavendra Purī would eat one piece of that earthen pot. And after eating it, he would immediately be overwhelmed with ecstasy. He's eating that clay pot. How much appreciation he has. Every day he's eating a little piece. And after eating it, he would immediately be overwhelmed with ecstasy. These are wonderful stories. They are indeed. Thakur more kirdilo log sabha shuni, dine log bida hobe more pratishta jani. Having broken the pot and bound the pieces in his cloth, Mādhavendra Purī began to think, the Lord has given me a pot of sweet rice, and when the people hear of this tomorrow morning, there will be great crowds. Se boyerachi sheshe cholila shripodi, se kane gopinate dandavata kodi. Thinking this, Sri Mādhavendra Puri offered his obeisances to Gopinath on the spot and left Ramuna before morning. So he's afraid, right, that when people hear of this mercy that was given to me, then they will think I'm such a great devotee, and they'll come and, they want to give me so much honor, and so he flees, he immediately leaves. This is the real Vaishnava. They genuinely don't want any honor. They don't want any position. They want to avoid that as much as possible. How are we for time? We will just read a few more verses. Okay, read a few more. Choli choli aila puri, Srinila chol, Jagannatha deki hoila primete vival. Walking and walking, Mādhavendra Puri finally reached Jagannath Puri, also known as Nilachal. There he saw Lord Jagannath and was overwhelmed with loving ecstasy. Premaveshe utte pode hasenache gaye Jagannath dadashane mahasu kapai. When Mādhavendra Puri was overwhelmed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead, he sometimes stood up and sometimes fell to the ground. Sometimes he laughed, danced, and sang. In this way he enjoyed transcendental bliss by seeing the Jagannath deity. Madhava Puri Shiparailo Loke Hoilo Kyati Sab Loka Sitare Kore Bahu Bhakti. When Mādhavendra Puri came to Jagannath Puri, people were aware of his transcendental reputation. Therefore, crowds of people came and offered him all sorts of respect and devotion. So it's too late. His reputation has preceded him. The what do you call it? There's a name for it, like the network, right? It's amazing sometimes, how quickly news can spread, right? Yeah. So even in the night, like the news has spread. When he's reached Puri, everyone already knows. Pratishtar sabhave jagate vidit jena vanche tada hoy vidata nirmit. Even though one may not like it, reputation as ordained by providence comes to him. Indeed, one's transcendental reputation is known throughout the entire world. Pratishta boye puri gela palaya, Krishna preme pratishta chole sange godaya. Being afraid of his reputation, Pratishta, Mādhavendra Puri fled from Ramuna. But the reputation brought by love of Godhead is so sublime that it goes along with the devotee, as if following him. Yajjapi udvek hoilo palaite man, takode chandan sadan hoilo bandan. Mādhavendra Puri wanted to leave Jagannath Puri because the people were honoring him as a great devotee. However, this threatened to hinder his collecting sandalwood for the Gopal deity. Jagannath sevak jata jatek mahanta sabake kohilo puri Gopal virtanta. Sri Mādhavendra Puri told all the servants of Lord Jagannath and all the great devotees there the story of the appearance of Sri Gopal. So he wanted to run away, right? But actually he needed to be there to do his service, right? And as it works out, he's able to, his fame enables him to carry out this task. So it's interesting, how it all worked out, right? Because he receives a dream from the Lord, tells him to do this difficult task. He doesn't know how he's going to accomplish it. And he doesn't know how it's going to work out. But now, through this whole string of events, it's actually made it a lot easier for him. And now he has money, he has help with caring, because now he's like a celebrity, right? So, he just had that faith, right? That everything will work out. The Lord, I don't know how the details are going to come about, but the Lord asked me, and it's going to happen. I'm going to do my part. Right? He's not worrying about all the details. He's not getting stuck in the world of logic and rhyme and reason. But the Lord, He's asked me to do this, and I have to have faith, right? Mādhavendra Purī told all the servants of Lord Jagannath and all the great devotees there the story of the appearance of Sri Gopal. Gopal Chandan Mage Shuni Bhakta Gam Anande Chandan Lagi Korilo Jatan. When all the devotees at Jagannath Puri heard that the Gopal deity wanted sandalwood, in great pleasure they all endeavored to collect it. So this has become like an opportunity. Oh, we can do something for this great devotee, Rajapatra Sanejar Jar Parichoy Tare Mage Karpa Chandan Korila Sanchoy. Those who were acquainted with the government officers met with them and begged for camphor and sandalwood, which they collected. Eka Vipra, Eka Sevak Chandan Bahite, Puri Gosai Sange Dilo Sambhav Sahite. One Brahmin and one servant were given to Mādhavendra Puri just to carry the sandalwood. He was also given the necessary traveling expenses. Gatidani Charaite Raja Pacha Dwade Raja Leka Kori Dilo Puri Gosai Kore. To get past the toll collectors along the way, Mādhavendra Puri was supplied with the necessary release papers from government officers. The papers were placed in his hand. So like all these details, right? Like he wasn't like stressing out before, oh, what about this and what about that and this and that. He said, no, it's going to happen. Now look, it's all manifesting. Because, it's actually, like this is another point, like why it was a bit difficult, because like a lot of these different regions, they have their own governments, right? And so like there's like, it's like here, like there's customs issues. You're bringing a big pile of this valuable resource, right? Then there's some legalities involved, right? So here he's being given some really special release papers from the government. Jolila Madhavapuri Chandana Loya Koti Dine Remunate Uttari Lagia. In this way, Mādhavendra Puri started for Vrindavan with the burden of sandalwood. And after some days, he again reached the village of Ramuna and the Gopinath temple there. Gopinath Charane Koilo Bahu Namaskar Prema Vesha Nitya Gita Korila Apar. When Mādhavendra Puri reached the temple of Gopinath, he offered his respectful obeisances many times at the lotus feet of the Lord. In the ecstasy of love, he began to dance and sing without cessation. So he's gone back. Remember, he's gone from Vrindavan. He stops in Ramuna. Then he continues to Puri. Now he's returning to Vrindavan, and he stops in Ramuna again on the way, where there's this Gopinath deity, remember? So he's there, this beautiful Gopinath deity who'd blessed him, right? And so he's in so much ecstasy there, dancing and singing in front of him. Puri deki sevak sab saman kodilo kir prasadiya tare bika korailo. When the priest of Gopinath saw Mādhavendra Puri again, he offered all respects to him, and giving him the sweet rice prasada, made him eat. Se rache devaloye korilo shayan, shesh rachi hoile puri dekilo swapan. Mādhavendra Puri took rest that night in the temple, but toward the end of the night, he had another dream. Okay, stop there.
Today, you know it.
to tune in tomorrow, hear the dream. Jai Shri Chaitanya-charitamrita ki Jai, Shri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai.